So go ahead with the intro again.
So welcome. We are excited to have you here, and just some logistical stuff so you guys know kind of how to navigate the whole Zoom technology, because some of you guys are new. If you go take your cursor and just move your cursor, there's a toolbar at the bottom. And usually what we like to do is have people mute themselves. It's all the way to the left. It's that little button if they're not talking, just to limit feedback. And so that's how that works. But we also have a wonderful way to stay connected throughout the class where you guys can interact with each other, which is in the chat box. About midway through, right next to share screen, there is a chat box. And you can actually communicate and write messages. Scott just put an aloha, everyone, to the whole group. But you can also message specific people. Like if you just want to send a private message to Kate Priest, you can look her name up and just dialogue with her. For example, if you're wanting to send more of a private direct message to that person. We do like to say that we want to limit like advice or feedback when sharing on the chat box. But simply to what we reflect back what we heard the other person say, or maybe share something like an appreciation or a gratitude or a reflection of what they shared, of what it stimulated for you. So that's kind of our teaching, is just to not go into sort of fix-it advice giving without really checking in and getting permission first. So that's a little bit of some of the ground rules for the chat box. And I'd love for you guys to just get on the chat box now and maybe say, introduce yourself, your name, where you're from.
And also the gallery view. If you take your cursor and put it in the upper right-hand corner, you have a choice of speaker view or gallery view. And we really encourage you to go with gallery view. In fact, right now we've got 9 squares. So it looks just like the Hollywood squares for me, because I'm older, and for her, it's the Brady Bunch. Check out all the squares. I'm appreciating Bill and Allison being very playful. And I'm really excited. I want to acknowledge that we've got kind of a nice combination of people that are coming on now. Several of our new people that have just signed up for Relationship Mastery, Allison and Bill, and Doug and Rebecca, and John in New Jersey, Laura, Paul Sterling, are all going to be participating in our Relationship Mastery course that starts on Sunday. So you guys are going to be getting to know each other, which is exciting.
So yeah, we'd love to invite you to put in the chat box your name, where you're from, and maybe like what you'd like to get out of the class today. Oh my God, I'm seeing a deer walk by right in our front yard. It's super beautiful. So, but that's just a way for us to kind of hear you and, what brought you today and maybe what you'd like to get out of the class today.
Yeah. And about halfway through the class, we're going to share kind of a little special offer that might be of interest to some of you. So just want to ask permission for that because Emily has put a lot into this particular course. She created this. And so I just really want to acknowledge you, Emily.
Thank you.
And this is really, it's pretty cool. So.
Yay. Also, just a permission for our style. We're kind of like, we do the whole structure and order thing, but we kind of tend to go off sometimes in tangents, and also just kind of go with what's alive. If someone has a big issue that comes up, if we ask for a group sharing, or we kind of like are very much hone in to kind of what's kind of alive in the group. We're also pretty spontaneous and we're vulnerable. We talk really openly about our stuff and our challenges and issues as a way to kind of create safety that, this whole relationship stuff is so human, and we fumble, we do the argument thing, we get triggered, and how do we handle it, and how do we, clean it up with as much ease, compassion, and grace as possible.
Yeah. So thank you. And I'm just really excited to see all of you, because each and every one of you is somebody that we have a special connection to. And I love playing matchmaker. And so I'm looking at all of you, recognizing that some of you are going to end up developing beautiful friendships with some of the other people on the screen right now. You may not know them now, but you're going to get to know them and cultivate beautiful friendships with them. So, and
people from all over the world, and even Kate and Daniel, they're in partnership, but they're in separate places, and they're a couple. So couples also, when they're not together, come on different computers. Hi couples, hi singles, we love you all. You're amazing. So
shall we get started?
Shall we get started? Yeah.
So, one of the things that, and because many of you are doing relationship mastery, I just want to start by saying that when we master ourselves, when we can learn how to master our own emotions and our own triggers, all of our relationships improve.
And our own habits, beliefs, and patterns that can be hurtful or harmful, and how to shift those around. So, you know, that's the thing, is usually we focus so much on the external of what we can do for our partner.
If only you would be different.
Change
just
our partner,
yeah.
right? Or a lot of it just becomes projection. So this course is really, our first course is really learning a lot of communication tools and tools with, you know, how to handle and be with the other. But our advanced course is really about how do I really master myself? Because the deeper dive we go into ourself, the more gracefully we can have amazing relationships on the external world. So
we want to invite you, as we take you through a little slideshow, to really just be honest with yourself. Okay, how do I do with this particular heart ninja skill? How do I do with this particular pillar of self-mastery? And so you may want to grab actually pen and paper, just to kind of give yourself scores, perhaps.
Oh, but turn on the light. Yeah, pen and paper will be good.
Pen and paper is good. Or open up another box on your computer, but make sure that you can still see us. And there we go.
I think that's better for the lighting.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and go into screen share.
Cool. Thanks, Kevin.
And David and Laura, it's so good to see you guys. Congratulations on your great success. And okay, let's see what we got here.
So what we want you to do is we're going through these different pillars of the Heart Ninja pillars to be masterful in a relationship, is to rate yourself. 0 meaning like, I don't even know what that is.
It's science fiction.
It's science fiction. To 10, like, wow, I'm really well practiced in that. That's something that I really feel confident in, that I have a skill at. I know how to do that well. So kind of from 0 to 10, be able to rate yourself, and just in vulnerability and honesty, because the more vulnerable and honest we can be with ourselves, then we're able to be aware and then make steps to improve consciously what we might be a little more challenged in.
So what is a heart ninja? Emily Orum is a heart ninja. Let me introduce you for a moment here, sweetie. I'm not just saying this because I love her and I partner with her. She really is so dedicated to applying tools and skills to really just be as evolved as you possibly can be. And I'm really grateful for your commitment and how willing you are to learn and to grow. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
And I like this definition she came up with. You want to read it?
Yeah, a heart ninja is a heart-centered being dedicated to apply the tools and skills to have loving, compassionate relationships.
And that's all of you. You guys are all heart ninjas. You're spending Monday night and other times you've connected with us to learn these amazing tools. So thank you.
And specifically a ninja, like, how do we take the stuff that's really hard and learn to actually become a better human being through that? How do we shift, patterns of scarcity or fear into gratitude and trust? How do we take the hard stuff in life and actually move closer toward our heart, our own heart, and the heart of the people that we love around us?
I just want to, when I look at this and I think about some of the people that are with us, Paul Sterling, who's one of our best friends and a great coach, he's on with us right now, and he's dedicated to learning and growing. He makes his living coaching people. He's good. He's written a book, but Paul is right here learning and growing, just like all of you are. So, when we're working on becoming relationship masters, it's not like we've ever completed. It's an ongoing process of just learning and growing.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of shame can come in, because when we are something or we do something and we have expectations of ourselves to show up a certain way and we don't meet those expectations, we can get really hard on ourselves. And so how do we recognize that a master is having the mindset of, I'm always learning and growing, embracing curiosity, embracing, oh, wow, I didn't meet my value there, or something didn't work. How can I harvest a part that I'm learning about myself? How can I improve? How can I grow? What have I learned from that? And we're going to be talking a little bit more about some of those skills as we go through, but a master is someone that's, again, always learning and growing. It's a never-ending process.
I want to tell a really short, brief story. I grew up in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. I love the Oscars. The Academy Awards are like a big holiday in my life. And one year they gave a special Oscar to Akira Kurosawa, who is Japan's greatest filmmaker. And at the time, he was 80 years old. And Spielberg and George Lucas are giving him the Oscar. And he very humbly says, I've been making movies for 45 years, and I truly believe that I'm just beginning to learn how to do it. And it was so sincere. I mean, I'm getting chills. And that moment in my life, I realized, oh my God, no matter how accomplished you are, to have that humility to keep learning and growing. So moving on, here we go.
And that does kill relationship. Once we think that we know someone and know who they are or know anything about life, when we get stuck in a belief system or a way someone is, we've literally cut ourselves off from being able to really see things more clearly.
Yeah. So the first Heart Ninja skill, and really many of the Heart Ninja skills are variations of this. And this is where it really ties into Marshall Rosenberg and his teaching of nonviolent communication, which was a big influence on myself, Emily, Paul. We are 100% responsible for our thoughts, our feelings, and our needs. So just rate yourself. To what degree is that true for you? To what degree have you accepted, oh my God, I'm 100% responsible for my thoughts, my feelings, and needs. Nobody can make me angry. Nobody can make me cry. People do what they do, and my feelings or my unmet needs are whatever they are.
Or my own beliefs or thoughts about the world or who I am, that's all generated by me. I am responsible for that. Nobody else. And it's a really big thing, because when someone's hurt us, or when the world hasn't been the way that we want, we can so easily displace and put blame. And that's a really bad, I would say, I don't want to say the word bad, but a harmful habit that we're really looking to exit, so that we're taking ourselves out of being a victim and really becoming more empowered and stepping up into that place of empowerment.
We're not going to ask after every one of these, but I'd love to just get some interaction. Does anybody have anything they'd like to ask or share about that first one, the concept that you're 100% responsible for your thoughts, feelings, and needs? Does anybody have anything they want to share or ask about that? Because I don't want it to just be Emily and I. Mr.
Paul,
Sterling. All right.
Yay.
Thank you, Paul, to the rescue.
Well, on a good day, I'm all for it. On a bad day, no way. It made me feel that way. And I've been teaching this and learning this forever. And I watched that I can still get tripped up by that, and it's like, well, you said it's mastery level to really get close to even that, and to not think it's somebody else's fault. They made me feel that way. And it's my edge. I'm still pushing it.
Yeah.
And so I guess they say you teach what you need to learn. And so thank you for teaching it. I thought of that. I said, what do I rate? I'm going like, 6 on a good day.
Being honest.
Thank you for being honest. Yeah.
And some of you might find that you're really good at taking responsibility for, say, your feelings, but you struggle with your thoughts, or you struggle with knowing what you're needing. So there's 3 different ones there. So you might have different scores based on how
aware am I of of the streams of things that are coming through my head? Like, do I even think about it, or am I just totally unaware? Because that's why meditation is a great practice, because you actually start to become watching like the clouds go by of what continually starts coming up. Oh, I shouldn't be sitting here. Oh, I have too many things to do. Oh, it's like you become more aware. And so this is a practice of self-awareness, so that we can, again, make improvements toward what we want to maybe improve.
One last thought on this, and we'll move on. As coaches, I would say that probably the biggest challenge that we consistently see is when somebody in relationship is getting hooked into consistently running a deficiency thought about the other. She doesn't really love me.
He doesn't listen.
He doesn't listen. She'll, and we start creating these grooves in our brain of negative thoughts, judgmental thoughts, deficiency thoughts about the very people that we are most reliant on.
And then it imprisons us, and then it distances us from the love that we want. And so that's, David, just real quick though, because we don't want to.
You're unmuted, Dave. We can hear you.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hi, honey.
So I just wanted to speak to that real quick because I'm working on controlling my thoughts. That just seems to just go. You have the right to remain silent. You just don't have the ability. So man, that is a tough one for me. And, so I'm making progress there. At least I'm aware, and I'm trying to bring those things into my meditation. And I find that that's really, really helping. Laura and I have just decided we're going to meditate for at least an hour for the next 100 days in a row.
Wow.
That's
What
a
commitment. That's incredible. Good.
But it's not about us. It's about you guys. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to go back to the share screen. By the way, I'm fighting a pretty nasty head cold. And I, to be honest, need to go take care of myself in the bathroom for a moment. So I'm going to turn over number 2 to beloved Emily.
Okay. The number 2 heart ninja pillar is making choices with consciousness as opposed to egoic default pattern reactions. So this is a difference between when am I in my frontal lobe, right? When am I in my centered, aware, empowered self? And when am I in my reptile brain? And so many of us don't understand the difference of when we may be making choices out of habit or choices that are coming from fear when we're in a place of I should, or if I don't do this, then I'll get hurt, or I need to do this because if I don't, then there's something wrong with me. All that kind of choosing to make choices from the reptile brain usually will end up in something moving us away from connection and love as opposed to towards it. So just thinking about that, how well do I do with really being clear that I'm making a choice in my frontal lobe? And how clear am I when I recognize when I'm in my reptile brain and I'm making choices from a triggered state?
I'm changing my clothes. I'm cold.
Oh, okay. So I am going to come back into the room. Scott was cold, so he's going to be back. So I'm just taking over the session here right now. So awesome. I'd love to just open it up to people to see kind of maybe if anyone would like to have something like to share about that, or clarifications, questions, maybe vulnerable shares. Daniel, you want to share? Hang on, I got to unmute you.
Oh, you do that. I don't do that here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm learning this still. So maybe a 4, 5. I might be, somewhere in the middle of the road, and just, you guys call it calling a yellow light, when things get kind of, I used to call it pumping the brakes, but just when to make that call to do that, because sometimes it's hard when it's right in your face and it's coming at you to say, yellow light, because you don't think and you just go right past it and you just want to react, and that's Scott's calling the reptile brain, and that's what reacts, and then it just escalates from there. But I'm trying to get a grasp on that.
Thank you so much for your vulnerability around that. And it's the hardest when we're triggered, right? When we're triggered, we can easily just want to defend and, to protect ourselves and get our word in and everything. So yellow light, red light is a practice that we teach called connected timeouts. And we notice we're triggered or that first agitation, we call yellow light, slow down, breathe, get self-connected to our feelings and needs. And then we, again, ask ourselves if we can care about the other person's feelings and needs. And if we can't, then we take a red light, we take space and come back when we're both centered. So that's a great practice.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, I'm going to go to, again, the next one. So the next Heart Ninja pillar to become masterful in a relationship is self-reflection. Self-reflection is a very powerful skill set to really be able to ponder what's going on. What's going on with me? What's going on for the other? How is this impacting me? what's alive in me? It's asking ourselves those inquisitive questions that help us to get to know ourselves better and to embrace entering another person's world. So to what degree do we, when things happen in our life, circumstances, we get in fights, upsets, disagreements, or challenges come through, or just stuff basically happens, it doesn't have to be, challenging. To what degree do we ask ourselves what's coming up for us in reference to that?
The meditation that David and I are going to do every day. What a great time to self-reflect. So self-reflection is such an important part of our diet. So let's just all remember that. And just come back for a second, see how do people do with self-reflection? Just by raise of hands, who self-reflects at least once a day? Even if it's just for a few minutes, who feels like at least once a day they self-reflect? Okay, cool, most of us, thank you. Awesome. Any thoughts, questions, or responses to that piece before we move on? Anybody have anything they want to share? Mr. Sterling.
I think that, I look at that and growing up, I had to be so externally focused because I grew up in an alcoholic family and my older brother was somewhat dangerous to me. Like, there's a lot of people who were much more abused, but it was a little brutal growing up. So self-reflection was a luxury I didn't have as a kid. Going internal, I needed to be like worried about everything out there. And if I pulled inside and just worried about myself, and there was nobody guarding the door. And so it's interesting for me to look at that and now kind of at this age be wanting to do more internal work and realize there's some resistance still. So
I guess I think the resistance probably is it's so much easier to kind of be in a victim place or feel like we're at the mercy of life or at the mercy of our relationships rather than really recognizing, oh my God, what am I?
That's what this big 6'3", 220-pound guy wants to hear. Thanks for pointing it out, Scott.
I love you, Paul.
I love my coach.
And honestly, I'm just having a lot of compassion too, because I also grew up with addiction in my family, and it was I need to do whatever I can to protect myself from the outside world because it's so traumatic and scary. It's not safe. So there really is no time to think about the only thing I can think about myself is what do I need to protect myself or control my environment so I can be okay. And so I understand being in that programming and how challenging it can be to unwind from that. So I'm just having a lot of compassion for your willingness now to unprogram yourself.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Empathy first.
Empathy first. Rebecca, did you want to say something? I saw that you wrote, I have words.
Oh, we can't hear you guys for some reason.
Headphones.
Oh, we can hear you now.
We put on headphones. Okay, now. Can you hear us now?
Yeah,
We can, yeah.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Was this?
Okay, good.
Oh, terrific. I wanted to, for one and two, the question of what am I going to do in terms of how I communicate with my partner, but also what am I going to do in terms of self-reflection. Taking those 10 seconds to time out, if I can stop myself when my feelings get hurt, I won't vomit on my partner all of my negative projections. When I reflect on what happened with my partner, if I give myself a little time out, I won't just recycle my vomit when I think about it over and over again. Because I think sometimes we attempt to reflect, and what we end up doing is obsessively repeating the worst experience we had so far today.
Boy, that's so painfully accurate.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't really qualify very well as reflection. What it amounts to is worry, regret, guilt, shame, and anger, and I go around in circles. And that's the same impulse to get hooked into the reptile brain that I have when my partner accuses me of something, or I get hurt, or I get guilty or something. So I found that what helps me with my partner helps me when I reflect. Let me shut up and be still for a second and wait.
Thank you so
And then
much.
think.
Yeah, I'm saying that Laura and David are giving you a total of 4 thumbs up there. And it's true, you know, when we want to quiet the reptile brain, slowing down is the most important thing of all. And when we're in an argument or when we get triggered and we start speeding up and talking faster, we just go on further. The faster we talk, the more we're going into reptile brain.
Also, too, there's identification and being aware of what's going on, and then there's self-reflection. So just like that distinction of like, if I'm in a story that my partner doesn't care about me, that's not really self-reflection. I mean, it's awareness of what the stories are, but it's like, what is that reflecting in me? What's the deeper, what are my feelings that are going on? What are my needs? What veils of past pain might be coming up that has me really maybe projecting that out? It's going down that rabbit hole into, where's the gift in this for me? What is this bringing up in me? And so that's kind of the self-reflection, is like, I'm willing to go in and find something powerful in this for me, rather than staying in a story, which then we can just rehash the vomit, like as you said.
Finding the treasure in the trigger. That's one of our little, find the treasure in the trigger.
Yeah. And we have actually bumper stickers that say triggers are treasures. And so that's just a reminder, because they don't feel like it, but when we learn to kind of see that there's a lot of medicine there to learn and grow about ourselves, and to hopefully bring us closer in through connection, through vulnerability. So that's why we have a vulnerability is sexy bumper sticker.
I'm going to talk about this one because
this is so humbling.
This is my hardest one.
This is my hardest one too.
Yeah. It's, because I want to be seen as this great, spiritual, wonderful, loving guy. And when I do shit that hurts my beloved or hurts others or is selfish or anything, it's so hard for me to acknowledge the consequences. And, one thing that helps, and this is a teaching of ours, is to differentiate between the being and the behavior or the choices they made. And same thing when we're doing this, okay, if I've done something that was selfish, it was a selfish choice. It doesn't mean that I am a selfish human being. And that's really important, because if we start labeling ourselves or labeling others with a judgment, then we've really
locked them in prison, and it's not going to build connection.
Yeah. So how do we do with owning the consequences of my actions, choices, and behaviors? And
on myself and others. So to what degree can I self-reflect? Oh, wow, when I regularly consume alcohol, that has an impact of drawing me away from the people I love, and also an impact of creating anger. I get angry and I divulge that anger onto the people I love. So that would be an example of owning the impact on myself. For me, what I can vulnerably share is I tend to make agreements with my partner because I want to show up a certain way to please them or make them happy, or I want
them or him.
You, sorry. You make you happy, or I want to be able to, it's like the easier thing to do is just to agree to something, but then I break the agreement, not really owning that I really couldn't say a full yes to that agreement. So that's a way that I create impact that hurts Scott, that I have to own and face. And it's humbling and it's challenging, but it's definitely, for me, I had to do the self-reflection work to go, what's going on? Oh, wow, I'm agreeing quickly because I want to please my partner. I want to make them happy. And I'm agreeing quickly because it sounds like something I want to do, but can I really actually fully meet that agreement? And that's my self-reflection work that I had to do to get clear about that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
that's very vulnerable.
This is a really hard one for both of us. So.
And so, again, in owning the consequences.
You could say owning impact too.
Owning impact. When we make choices, especially if we make choices that we regret, recognize that we probably either have gotten abducted by our pain body or abducted by our pleasure center, intoxication, or we're desperate to get a need met. if you think about any time in your life that you did a really big boo-boo that you really regret, I promise you, you were desperate to get one or more needs met. And that's why you made that choice. So it's not to condone it, but it's to understand it. Because again, we want to understand, why did I do that? If I can understand why I do something, that's my best chance of changing it. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Any thoughts, questions? By the way, I want to welcome some of the people that have joined us. Luciana, Gail, Annie Hobson, a few of our friends coming in.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, David.
Yeah, sorry. You guys keep on, your service is freezing. So we're just like getting bits and pieces.
Oh, no.
Just so you know.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, from our end, it looks like it's just going straight through. How long has it been freezing? How bad is it? Every 5 minutes?
Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you know, it's like we're
just getting like
you guys
every
will
other
start
word.
and then it'll freeze and then you'll come back and like in another thought and I thinking I'm stroking out and then I realize that it's just the internet.
Is everybody else experiencing that? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
So I'm wondering, how is the audio? Like if we turn off of our video, how is the audio?
Audio's great when it's there.
Okay.
Right.
So how long has it been stopping and starting?
Probably for the last 7 minutes or so.
Yeah, just sputtering.
What do
You
you
know.
Well, hopefully it sounds like it's working fine right now. So
Yes, it is.
let's just kind of keep going
Let's
and
stay
then
with
let
it.
us know.
Well, it's cutting out again.
Oh, it's cutting out right now.
Thumbs down. Yeah, it's not working.
So we're going to try switching over, I guess, to her computer and see if her computer does better.
Okay.
Or are you guys further away from your normal router?
No, the router's right there. We're really close to it, actually. We are in Emily's
I love it. Knows all that
next
stuff.
to the studio, but we've been having internet problems for the last few days.
Yeah, it's
been
the
coming and
server. There's something wrong with it, kind of been with the server. We've tried to kind of work on it. So
Yeah. How is it now? Is it okay?
It's still doing it.
Still doing it. All right. So you know what we're gonna do is you want to go back over to my place. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little 5-minute break, and we're gonna try going over to my home and see if it's better there. So you can't even hear us.
Right. Type it out.
Yeah. To everyone. Log back.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
You could break us out in groups and send us off to do something and then try and work on it.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Only if I send you off into groups, I can't close the
Then you
program.
have to come in with the same.
Yeah. So
Right.
So if you can hear me, come back in 5 minutes. It's right now 8:06. Come back at 8:11 California time, and hopefully it'll be better. Sorry, guys.